So which is better, to bug in or to bug out? We're going to discuss it in today's episode. Stick around. All right, welcome back to the channel. Prepared Wanderer in the Man Cave tonight, and I want to discuss something that I've been thinking about a lot. It is, I think, one of the most hotly contested topics on YouTube and among the prepper community, and that is to bug in or to bug out. Now I'm going to tell you what I think, for whatever that's worth, because I'm no expert. We're all figuring this out together. No one really has the answers. No one really knows what's going to happen in the future. There's lots of predictions, lots of doom and gloom out there, people trying to get you scared, make you think one way or the other, or maybe to buy their products or whatever. But we are all in this trying to figure it out, and I just want to share some thoughts with you for you to consider. So anytime that I do a bug out video and I show a bug out bag, there's always going to be comments about, well, I'm not going anywhere, I'm going to bug in. And of course, you know, people get pretty hot about these kinds of things. Everybody has their opinions and they think their opinion is right. And I'm not saying they're not. There is validity to both sides of the argument. Bugging in has some very good points, that if it has all of your stuff with you, you have food, you have resources, you have security, you have a roof over your head, you have a way of taking care of yourself and your family in a protected shelter. Bugging out, on the other hand, has vulnerability to it because you're exposed, you're out in the elements, you have to fight a lot more to survive, to find food, to find shelter, to keep warm. It's a harder proposition. And if you are not physically fit, if you have medical issues, bugging out may not be the way to go. But think about this. There are going to be situations and there are places and environments where bugging in may not make sense. So I think the short answer is you have to prepare for both, and you have to be ready for both scenarios. And that means basically not putting all your eggs in one basket. Now, if you are homebound because of medical issues, because you're elderly, you know, there's no way you can travel, then you're stuck. You're going to have to be prepared for the bug-in scenario. And that means you're going to have a security plan for your home. That means keeping people out. And you're going to have a way of feeding yourself, keeping yourself warm, cooking food, you know, basic necessities like water and sewer, toilet type issues. You have to be able to take care of waste and sanitation. These are all concerns and things you need to think about if you're bugging in. And I think a lot of people just say they're going to bug in because they got some canned goods stocked, and that's about it. That's as far as their plan goes. They don't go any further. Well, you know, when the scenario happens, and whatever that scenario is going to be, we don't know. Natural disaster, you know, invasion, EMPs, all these different scenarios that people talk about and are concerned about. We don't know what it's going to be, but you need to have that plan ready and active before any of that stuff happens. Now, on the other hand, if you are bugging out, or if you want to have a bug out plan ready, that means you need to have things prepared to grab. You can't be dependent on the items that are being stored for bugging in. So if we're going to be doing both scenarios and preparing for both scenarios, because you're able to do that, you need to have more stuff. Now, I know that is kind of a downer hearing that, because you're thinking, I've already spent so much money on this plan. Now he's saying I got to come up with another plan and spend more money. Well, hopefully some of these items that you are storing for bugging in can be already staged for portability. Let's say food, you know, not reliant all on canned goods or on canning, if that's something that you're doing, but also having the ability to have dehydrated or freeze-dried foods or meals in containers that are easy to grab and go, like a Rubbermaid container of some sort. That should be part of your prep as well. That is planning for both scenarios and being prepared for both. Water is a little bit more difficult, but you should have some type of disinfecting and filtration system that is portable, and maybe that is a larger group filter like MSR or Sawyer or Platypus. They all make some very good group filters for group backpacking. They're usually comprised of a filter system with a dirty bag and a clean bag, and you can do larger quantities of water. That's one thing you want to think about. And then, of course, security is a big issue. You know, if you are in a home that has lots of windows, have lots of point of entry from the ground floor, you need to think about how are you going to secure that. And then, of course, if you're going to be bugging out, there's security issues as well. That means possibly having firearms, ammunition ready to go and staged that you can grab and throw in your vehicle. Urban areas may not be the best place to bug in with, because what's going to happen is as the resources start dwindling, people are going to become more desperate. Even people that you think are your neighbors or your community members or your friends, they're going to start roaming, looking for resources, looking for food, looking for water, looking for ammunition, guns, whatever that they can find that they need. They're going to be looking for it if they don't already have it. Urban areas are going to be concentrated with these people. Resources are going to run out quicker. And of course, government entities and officials are going to be in the urban areas first. They are not going to be going after rural areas very quickly. They're going to be taking care of business in the cities and even the smaller towns where there are concentrations of people. So bugging in may work for a little while, but as things like martial law is enacted, resources start dwindling, and the savages take over, are you going to be able to defend your home? Are you going to be able to stay where you're at without drawing attention? Because as soon as people around you see that you are doing well, that you are fed, that you are warm, that you have shelter, that you have resources, you will become a target. So then you need to think about, is there a way that I can get out of this situation with myself, my family, and some of the resources that we have prepared for the bug out scenario, get that into a vehicle of some sorts and get out of town if that's possible. If you're living in a densely populated city and you're not living in a house, you're in an apartment building, I think your situation becomes even worse. I personally don't see how it will be possible for someone to shelter in place and bug in an apartment building. To me, it is a very unsecure place. You are trapped on a floor. There's usually only a couple of ways out through an elevator or a stairwell. So those exits and entrances can be blocked and controlled very easily. So I'm not sure how people in that scenario or situation are going to cope with that. My scenario, I think, is very similar to most people. I am in a smaller town. I'm in a house I'm surrounded by neighbors. I don't know most of them. I know the neighbor next to me because we talk across the fence, and I've gotten to know him and his family. But for the most part, the people around me, they all keep to themselves. I see them occasionally. We wave, but we don't know each other. And I don't know what their intentions are. I don't know what kind of people they are. I don't know how they're going to be affected when the grid goes down. So the scenario of bugging out, I would hope it would be a very short-term thing. Maybe I'm going out to a rural area, maybe going to a family farm or friend that has a farm and staying out there for a short period of time until things blow over, till things get better, and then coming back. I need to talk to my friends and family and have that predetermined so I'm not, creating a burden on people that I know. I need to have routes planned on maps. I need to have communication set up with my family. That means radios, so in case we do get separated or we're in a caravan of some sort, we're at least able to communicate. And we need to have our gear ready to roll if something happens. So all this stuff is it's food for thought. It's stuff that I've been thinking about, and I wanted to share my thoughts with you. Maybe I'm completely off base. Please, in the comments below, leave your ideas of what you think. Not necessarily your whole plan. We don't need to know that. Keep that kind of stuff close to the vest, and only your family and you should know those plans. But let me know what you guys think of what you plan to do, what you think is the best scenario. And maybe you agree with me that being prepared for both is the way to go. If you like this content, and there's plenty more of it coming this year, please consider subscribing. Also, hit that like button, hit the bell icon if you do subscribe so you get notifications. And then also take a moment to visit the affiliate links down below. There is a Prepared Wanderer website. There's an Amazon store that sells a lot of the gear that I recommend in my videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time on the Prepared Wanderer.